Teacher Tip Tuesday, everyone. Sorry, it feels like a Monday rather than a Tuesday for me. Today I wanted to jump in and share with you some props I love to use in my early childhood classes for helping little ones develop balance. Obstacle courses are one of my favorite things to include in the Intellidance programs. They provide another way for kids to work on some of their basic dance and physical literacy skills, but they also act as a way to really work on problem-solving skills as little ones figure out how to move in different relationships to various props and how that changes either how they have to move their body or do that particular skill. And I also like to use it as one of my scaffolding tools for preparing little ones for dancing with partners. Often when we're dancing with partners, we're dancing in different relationships, and we need that spatial awareness and our own body awareness in relationship to something else. And with little ones, while they're still working on their proprioception and their ability to understand how much force perhaps they're using in a particular skill, a prop provides that way of developing those same skills we'll use in partnering, but without having to necessarily partner two children together. So it's just another step that you can use. So today I wanted to share with you 3 props that I've been using in my obstacle courses to help with developing balance, working on, again, core strength, their ability to feel on and off balance, their kinesthetic awareness, and that idea of proprioception. How am I using my body and my muscles and the angles of my joints to allow me to do certain skills? And so whether you're working in an early childhood dance class setting or a preschool setting, these types of obstacle courses and props can really support that idea of developing balance. And I will put links to these different props in the comments after I posted the video as well. Being in Canada, I will give you the Canadian distributors, but you should be able to find these props worldwide as well. So the first one I have here, I'll come a little bit closer so you can see. These are called sensory steppers, and as you see as I squish, 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 they're really kind of like a early childhood Bosu ball type idea or a balancing apparatus you might see in the gym. But what's cool about the sensory steppers is that on the dome side, they have some different tactile sensations. So another way your little ones can be just kind of working on that sensory integration and processing in bare feet, feeling those different tactile sensations on their feet. So my set came with 4, and I know from doing this in my Tykes and Tots classes, the little ones really kind of get a little squeal on this textile-y, bumpy one. It kind of tickles the bottoms of their feet. So I like to include these in my obstacle courses, and there's different ways you can use them. The flat side being down is going to provide a little bit of instability with the textile on top. So with my little ones, I just set them up in a nice row here. I'll show you this out of the way. And to start with, I had them right next to each other. So the little ones just had to take some very small steps walking across the domes as well. And as I progressed with my 2 to 4-year-olds, gradually made this space a little bit wider. So they're really working on that ability to reach, which will help them when they're working on a skill like a leap, and as well as switching that dominant leg. And a few modifications I made for my little ones. If they weren't ready to kind of have one foot on one dome at a time, they could, and I'll show you, hopefully you can see my feet here. Here, I'll back these up a bit. Got a little live video for that. So they could work on simply stepping on with 2 feet, finding their balance, and then coming off again. And just this stepping on and off, balancing for a moment, that's a great way to start with your little ones. It's a great skill. Can they use that core strength, their body awareness, their balance to do that? And you can take that to 2 feet again. So my next progression would be 2 feet to 2 feet. I'm here. Maybe then I step, find my balance where I'm here. And you can see even for adults, this is great. So that's what I love about teaching early childhood classes. I'm constantly getting my own exercise and physical activity in for the week. Again, progressing still, I can work on one foot and the other, stepping across, transferring that weight. And then I can gradually spread the domes apart much wider as well. So they're really having to work on that reach in between. And one thing that my youngest daughter discovered is it's also fun, and it's a little bit more unstable, would be to flip them onto the dome side, have the flat side available, and that creates a more flat surface for the feet to step on, but more ability to rock side to side as well. And as you can see, I'm about 120 pounds. These things fully support my weight, so you don't have to have any fears of little ones sitting on them. You could also work on some seated balancing as well. Can they use different bases of support? So we could sit and try to balance on our bum. Can I just sit? Can I lift 1 foot off, 2 foot off? Can I lift my hands off? So you could be having some fun with that. They could also try some belly balancing as well. So having some fun with that, whether you're making them part of an obstacle course, maybe it's part of a freeze dance variation, scatter your sensory steppers throughout the space. When the music stops, we find a sensory stepper and we balance, and you can play around with bases of support. And I love to talk about bases of support with my little ones, especially when I'm doing the concept of either balance or body parts. It really just brings their awareness to different ways they can use their bodies, and then when they're creating shapes, they have a much larger repertoire in their creative movement vocabulary. So these are sensory steppers, lots of fun. You could probably even use them yourself for some fitness purposes as well. And I believe these were about, I think they were about $60 Canadian. I'm not exactly sure. I tend to try to buy my props on sale, so I definitely bought these when they were on sale this summer. The next one I'm going to show you here, I still have the box so you can see it. So these are river stones. You can see here. And these are another great prop to have for working on balance and within your obstacle courses. But I tend to like to use these ones when I'm exploring the concept of size, because when you open the box, you'll see we have 3 of these smaller size river stones, 3 colors, 2, 1, 2, 3. And the nice thing is they're kind of like stacking dolls, so for storage purposes, they stack into each other nice and flat. And then we also have 3 of these large ones, so I'll hold them side by side for comparison. You can see they're quite a bit bigger. And again, we have 3 and they stack in each other. And again, for storage purposes, the small ones stack inside of the box, so you're able to take them quite easily to different locations if you're teaching mobile. So I like to use these when I am exploring the concept of size. So even when I'm setting up the obstacle course, I use that as an opportunity to discuss the concept with the kids. And one of the skills we're working on is patterns. So I might start by saying, dancers, we're going to continue to look at size. And I have 2 different sizes of river stones that we're going to use today. So I'm going to start building a pattern, and maybe you can help me. So I'm going to start with a big step, and then I'm going to put the small stone. And then I'm going to put a big stone. If I was continuing my pattern, what do we think would come next? And generally one of your dancers, or quite a few, are going to say small. And you can continue big, small, big, and you can continue building the pattern. So again, we can use these just as another way of stepping and balancing. They're flat, so they're going to provide a little bit more stability for the children. But as you can see, the top of the stone is ridged, so there's a little bit of a smaller surface that they can work with. And that might be, if you try those sensory steppers, notice your little ones don't quite have the confidence or the balance skills yet to step safely on those. You could start with these river stones because they aren't going to have that unstable surface. So I'll just continue my pattern here, big, small, big. And again, the closer the stones are together, the easier it is for the little ones. The farther apart, the more they're going to have to work on that balance, that core support, and that ability to reach that leg. So again, we could start just walking across, having built our pattern. But what I love to do when I have the kids using these in a size obstacle course is have them do a size that matches the stone that they're on. And I did this also in my creative ballet classes for my little ones who are about 6 years old. It was really a fun way to kind of work on arabesque balance and then our passe pose as well. So as you can see, if I come here, sorry, my head's out of frame, but if I was doing a balance, for my younger kids, I could just say, show me a big shape. So again, they might just stretch. You can't really see me here, their body very big. When I come to the small step, maybe I'm making a small shape. And I could continue with that patterning, making my body very big or making my body very small. If you're wanting to use it for that creative ballet idea or just another way to try balancing, I can work on holding my arabesque. Sometimes with kids I just call it airplane. So we're on that one foot, we're extending back, and then when I come forward, I'm going to find passe and hold. And I try to really get the little ones to think about alternating feet. How are they alternating that? How are they reaching? How are they holding? And generally in a class, I'd have them spread farther apart. And in my creative ballet classes, between the steps, if they're spread farther apart, I'd have them working on their tiptoe walks or their tiptoe runs as well. So they're nice and high on those feet. And you could be doing that in a preschool creative dance class as well, working on tiptoes and then shapes. Again, similar to the sensory stones, I could then scatter these throughout the space. We could make it a freeze dance game. We could also make it a game working on dynamics and size. So perhaps I'm putting on a piece of music that has two contrasting dynamics, loud and soft. And I would split the kids into two groups. Half the dancers would be my soft, small dancers. Half my dancers would be my big, loud dancers. Each dancer would have one of these steps. The small dancers would only dance when they hear the soft music. The big dancers would only dance when they hear the loud music. When they're not dancing, they're on their big or small sensory stone holding a shape of that size. So if I was a small dancer, I might be on my small sensory stone, again working on my balance, making my small shape. And again, little ones might be one hand down or 1 foot down, and that's fine. They're working on those skills. And I'm going to hold the shape while I hear the loud music, because during the loud music, the dancers who are on the big sensory stones are dancing with big bodies through the space. Then when the music changed to soft, the children who were just big would come back to their sensory steps, freeze in a balanced, big shape on their step, while the small dancers would then get a turn to come off and dance with a small body through the space. And just make sure if you're doing activities like that, that you're playing them at least twice so the children get a chance to try both. But again, one way we can use them in an obstacle course, working on patterning and our size. We can add a little bit more of those more advanced early childhood dance skills, looking at ballet. How can I maybe create a small ballet shape or jazz shape, or just shape in general as I move through the obstacle course? Or how can I use these in an exploration game scattered through the space? And remembering, even when we're doing this scattered through the space, the children who aren't balancing on their big or their small step are going to be still working on relationships, moving around the shapes that are holding still. And from a child's perspective, holding a shape while others are dancing, especially in early childhood, requires a lot of regulation. So they have to work on that emotional regulation to wait their turn. They're excited. They're also having to focus on balancing. And chances are they're also watching the dancers moving around them. And when I watch something moving while I'm balancing, that actually makes my balancing more challenging. So these are going to be things that you can work on with your little ones in class. Again, using that conceptual approach and using some fun props. The last one I'm going to show you today is another one of my favorites, and I love to use it from anywhere from my Tykes class, which is about 12 to 24 months, all the way up to older kids, about ages 6 to 8. And I'll just show you here because I know some of you are mobile teachers, or you're running workshops, or you're having to bring your props with you. This is quite a large prop, but what I love about it, didn't really do the best angling with my camera today, sorry everyone, is that it comes in this carrying case that has a handle. So it's really easy for me to sling over my shoulder, or I have a wheelie cart I bring with me. I can just put the handles over my handle and pull it with me as well. But that is really nice, and it's quite heavy duty. It's not going to go anywhere. But this is my We Play Wavy Textile Balancing Beam. And I know some of you have seen it in the Intellidance promo videos and have asked me about it. So I'm quite happy to share it with you today. It is a prop that tends to be out of stock for long periods of time. So I know whenever I order one, generally I have to wait about 6 to 8 weeks for it to come in. I think it's because it's a very high quality product. It is at a higher price point. Even buying this on sale, I still think it cost me about $400 Canadian, I want to say. So I think for Americans, you're looking at about $300. But it is extremely high quality. It's going to last a long time. And basically what you're getting inside of these bags is almost like these wavy Lego blocks, is what I tell the kids. On the top, these little textile bumps are actually grippy rubber, so they're going to give them some grip. And as you can see, it goes up and down. And there's two different colors in your bag, one with the light blue dark stripes and one that's dark blue with the light blue polka dots. And all I do when I use these is I snap them together like this. Now the neat thing about this is because obviously they're wavy, is you can build them into lots of different shapes. So I can build this into kind of a snaky pathway. So again, with older children, if you're talking about pathways, are they moving in a curvy pathway, a straight pathway? I can really easily with this set build a nice curvy pathway. I'll do that here. Too many props. There we go. So you can see I'm going to continue to build this and just alternating the way they're facing to create a curvy pathway. I could also make larger curves as well. So if I were to take this one to the other side, I'll just show you here. I could continue in that same curve if I wanted to make a more exaggerated curvy pathway. Just like that. So this one's going to curve, 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 and then I could come back with this one and go the other way. And I should really back up here because I'm realizing you can't see this very well. And this guy's so great. So we're kind of going like that. You can also build it in a complete circle. And oftentimes in my Tykes classes, that is what I will do. I'll build it in a circle. I think even in the book here, yeah, they have some ideas on how you can use them in different shapes and things. So you can see here, found the page. This is what it would look like put together as a circle. So again, for my Tykes, because their little waiting turns isn't really something that's developmentally appropriate for them, when I set up an obstacle course for that age group, I'm setting up lots of different stations. I'm not enforcing that they necessarily continue through the course. They're 1 to 2. They're really just working on body awareness, spatial awareness, and enjoying these props as another way to problem solve and discover their bodies. So I'll set up the wavy balance beam in a nice circle. I might have some tunnels or the sensory steps in another area, and that allows the really young ones just to, pick a station and explore and problem solve with their body in a way that's meaningful for them. Once I get to my Tots age of class and my kids' age of class, we're looking at between ages 2.5 to about 5. That's when I might start creating 2 different lines, having the kids waiting their turn, working on that balancing as well. And what I love about the grips is that if you have your kids either in bare feet or in dance shoes, they're not going to slip off of this beam. And it does provide an extra challenge for a lot of the kids because not only are they on a slightly elevated surface, it's an uneven surface. So as you watch as I walk across, I really have to be focusing on moving up and down along with the balance beam. But the nice thing is there's the grips. And then that's where you can really think about differentiating. So sometimes I will use this balance beam when we're working on the concept of directions, and I'll set up my directions obstacle course. And when they get to the balance beam, already the beam is providing them with that up and down. So we talk about the wave and how our feet are going to travel up and down, which is more challenging for balancing. But we could also, for children who are finding it easy to walk forwards, we can then differentiate and continue to look at directions by having them travel across the beam in different directions. So I could go sideways and sidestep across, going up and down. You can also, for older children, have them work on going backwards. And this is quite complicated. Again, this is why we want to use the grips. And I like that it's not too high off the ground because if they do slip, they're not going to injure themselves as well. Because they're color coordinated too with slightly older children, you could have them working on different directions or different ways of stepping based on color. So when I'm stepping on the light blue sections, I'm going to travel forwards. When I'm stepping on the dark blue sections, I'm going to travel backwards. I've also had these set up at different intervals throughout the class. So maybe they're working on their tiptoe walks or lifting that knee up high, almost like a march across the beam. I don't necessarily want them doing that for a long period of time. Developmentally, they're not going to have the balance skills or the strength in their ankles and their legs yet to do that, but this creates a nice short little pathway that I can spread out throughout my obstacle course or scatter throughout my space as well. So these are some really great balancing props that I would encourage you to utilize in your early childhood classes. I know they tend to be a little bit more expensive, but that's because the quality of the product is really good. If you invest in these, they should be lasting you like 10 years if you're really taking care of them properly, cleaning them off, putting them away, and teaching the children to respect the items as well. The other reason I really like them is they tend to be something that parents and children really look forward to. They're an added value to your dance program. And I know a lot of the times when I'm talking to dance teachers or dance studio owners, it can be tricky in early childhood to encourage people to come to dance when they have options like the My Gyms or the little kid gymnastics where there's so much equipment, and equipment is fun. But you can be utilizing that equipment in your early childhood dance and music programs as well. It's a great way to have children, again, working on balance skills, working on proprioception. They could be trying to move to the beat. We're working on different relationships, and we're working on problem-solving skills as well. So it's a really great thing to include in your dance program if you can, not only for the benefits for the children, but as added value to your business and your classes as well. So again, I will pop those in the, oh, I see a question here. Do you sell these items? No, I don't, but I will be popping up links to where you can purchase them online. I just share with you the items that I like, that I've used, that are tried and tested, and that I found a lot of success with in my classes. And especially with props that tend to be more expensive, I'm looking at, can I use them with a wide variety of ages? And I've used all of these props in my Intellidance classes, but all the way up to age 8, even 10 with some kids. And like one of my, my creative hip hop kids, my creative jazz ballet students, and my full year performance programs between the ages of 6 to 10, usually at least once every 6 weeks or so, I would have them build an obstacle course. And that was usually one of their, most favorite activities to do. We'd relate it back to a concept. I might break them up into groups and give each group a concept that they had to build a station based on, or maybe it was a specific dance skill. And then they had to problem solve and decide what prop is going to be best for creating that obstacle course. So if you're not using obstacle courses already in your early childhood or your creative dance classes, I really encourage you to start utilizing them. It's a great way, again, like I said, to work on balance, spatial awareness, coordination. It encourages kids who maybe are getting bored with across the floor. This week is Halloween. For teachers who are teaching kids, we just need to survive the excitement and the craziness. So maybe you're creating a Halloween obstacle course. I used this one in my Tots class on the weekend. One of our stations for our Halloween obstacle course was, could we walk like black cats across the fence? So this was our wavy, spooky Halloween haunted house fence, and the children practiced balancing walks around it. Obstacle courses are just a fun, engaging way to keep working on those skills, add added value to your program, and work on problem solving with your little ones as well. So definitely check those out. Hopefully this was helpful for you. I will continue sharing on Teacher Tip Tuesday different props and how I use them in my classes. And again, I will leave links below with where you can find these products. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Have a great day.